All right, everyone, we are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru on this beautiful. It's such a beautiful day here in Atlanta, you guys. It was an absolutely beautiful day. I didn't have to wear a sweatshirt today. It was a little chilly in the morning, but not that bad. Not that bad. So hopefully we are done with this cold weather because y'all know I can't stand the cold weather. So I'm hoping that we are completely finished with this cold weather, and we won't see it again to next January or December or whatever. But everybody like, share, subscribe. Well, but I'll be in Africa in December and January. That's when I'm usually there. I hate it because without avail, it always happens. So whenever I go to Africa, like in December, I come back in January, and just getting off that plane or just walking outside the airport in
It
that
hits
cold
you.
weather, just issue miserable.
Mhm.
Hate it. Can't stand it. Absolutely hate it. So y'all enjoy the cold weather. I don't. I'm not a seasons guy. I just like, yeah, I only need two seasons, spring and summer, and I'm good to go. And I'm good to go. Spring and summer. So guys, like, share, subscribe, go to dynastymir.com. Listen, guys, listen. The tour website will be done this weekend by Sunday, okay? I had to fire my previous developer, got a new one, and he has done more in these last 24 hours than my developer did in a whole month. So I believe this guy is doing his job. Communicates, over communicates.
Is he
Yeah. So
local? Is your developer local?
he's in Nigeria. And see, I
Oh,
should have he's in Nigeria. Yeah, he's in
okay.
Nigeria. He's a great job. The other guy, see, I was such in a hurry that when I was messaging people on Fiverr, you know, one guy from India, he responded back the quickest. So I said, all right, come on, I got to get this done. Let's go.
Hmm.
But my Nigerian guy I got now, I'm talking about he has done more
Yeah.
than my guy did in a whole month. Yeah. So lesson learned, lesson learned. And so I've had good luck with Nigerians on my family, my Nigerian family. I've had great luck with you guys on Fiverr. But like I said, it's just I was just in such a hurry that the first person that responded back and it was engaging. I said, all right, let's go. We got to go. I got to get this done. But that ended up putting me behind 2 months.
Mm.
So guys, he's assured me that it will be done by Sunday. I can't wait. Finally. Shout out to Alexis Fowler. I'm developing my website from scratch using Webflow. Well, good for you, overachiever. Good for you, Alexis. Develop from scratch. See, when I do my websites, I use a template. All right. So we all ain't able like you, Alexis. So good for you. Yeah, good for you, Alexis, overachiever. Good for you. All right. I usually use GoDaddy, Squarespace, or Wix.
Right. Same.
Yeah. Same. The same with you, Ashley. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Alexis, you want to come on here and show off? You want to come in here and show off, Alexis? Okay, that's fine. All right. And then somebody taught me, Dice, you got to use WordPress. I said, okay. So I hired somebody, but we almost done. So that's almost done.
You're almost there.
Almost. In fact, guys, do me a favor. Hold on. Let me see if I can put this link in the chat room, guys. If you have Telegram, go ahead and join the Donfo. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure this out. But guys, we got a special guest. Because while I figure this out, I'm not gonna let Ashley just wait. Guys, hit that like button too. Hit the like button as you come to the channel. I don't know why I have to ask y'all to hit the like button, but you need to hit that like button
Like
when I come to the
button.
channel. Okay, let me put my finger down. That's the finger. Okay. So without further ado, we have Ashley in Africa on with us today, and we're going to be discussing, South Africa, the best choice for women, Black women, as far as when they relocate to the continent. 'Cause I know South Africa is more developed and all that good stuff. So we're gonna jump right into it. Because I know a lot of sisters, of course, are going to Ghana, but now I see
Mhm.
another group of sisters going to Tanzania and Kenya.
Mhm.
So I know you have experience with Tanzania and Kenya. Have you been to Ghana yet or no?
I haven't. No,
You haven't? Okay.
I haven't. But I do have some friends that travel to Ghana that have some like serious roots in Ghana.
Mhm.
So I'm an advocate. Go where your spirit calls you to go.
Right.
But I'm happy to share about why I'm choosing South Africa for
Okay.
my
So
family.
go ahead, Ashley, introduce yourself, and we'll jump right into it.
What's up, everyone? Shout out to the Search for Uhuru family. Shout out to Dinus. Thank you for having me on your platform again. Last time
Anytime.
was super fun. My name is
Anytime.
Ashley. I have a channel here on YouTube called Ashley in Africa where I talk about doing business, moving, and living in Africa, specifically my experience in Tanzania and South Africa. I'm trying to get to 6,000 subscribers, y'all. So help me out. Go visit me on my
Y'all
channel.
go subscribe. Go subscribe, y'all. Go subscribe.
Watch the content, and even let me know what you think of the content and what you'd like to see more. I'm shouting out to just everyone that has been supportive of the journey. I have a huge amount of support from the South African community. I'm so humbled to receive that. But yeah, I also work with 6 and 7 figure professionals and entrepreneurs that have an interest in moving to South Africa, specifically, if they have a family, I support them, helping them with timelines, helping them with a move date, helping them with schools. And so if that's you, you can reach out to me on my channel. It has all of the information. And if you're from South Africa, you in South Africa, you have feedback about the content that I'm sharing, let me know in the comments. But thank you for having me, Dinus. I'm
Of course.
excited to be back.
And real quick, guys, if you have Telegram, okay, if you have Telegram, all right, go ahead and add Donfo to add to your Telegram. Join the group. I'm sorry, join the group. That's the invite link. So if you guys have Telegram, click on that link and join. Come on and file in. So, all right, Ashley. So South Africa. So let's back up for a second.
Yeah.
So you first went to Tanzania.
Yes.
I need the pros and cons.
Okay. So I spoke about this last time and I, spoke about it being a beautiful experience, which it was. It didn't come without some challenges. Anybody who spends an extensive time on the continent knows that it is adjustment. There's a lot of adjustment that happens, especially coming from the West. The positives were cost of living, like great. Excuse me. I talked about how I had a policy that was actually paying me as I wasn't able to work during the time, but also a lot of mothers specifically were struggling with working because it was COVID.
Right.
Excuse me. So I was able to get what I was getting was a little over 3,000 a month. Had I been in the US trying to live off of that, it would have been like desolate, right? Being there in Tanzania, I was able to save money and live very comfortably. I don't know. I think this isn't specific to Tanzania, but I love the concept of in-home help and support. So motherhood is not seen as something that, you have to do alone. Even for my friends that are married mothers, that are wives, a lot of times I see them taking on the majority of the child's care, of the domestic work. And that is not necessarily the case. That wasn't the case in Tanzania. So even though I wasn't working, I still had some really strong support in a dada is what they're called affectionately in Kiswahili, that means sister. And just that level of support, having someone to help around the house, help with the kids, help with cooking, it just alleviated so much stress and just gave me an opportunity to really rest and reset and honestly just fall back into that divine femininity that honestly is very hard to operate in as a woman in the US. What's up, John?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to interrupt, but if I don't interrupt, I'll forget my question. Because you
Okay.
brought up the divine. I got a couple questions. You brought up the divine feminine. Okay. So shouldn't a woman always be feminine? Because when I was in Sierra Leone, a sister was like, I'm able to be feminine in Africa. So I guess that means I'm masculine in America. Like I'm assuming, okay, are you masculine in America?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is
Okay, expand on that.
it's a
Expand on
very patriarchal society, America specifically. I can't speak for other parts of,
that. America's patriarchal. Patriarchal.
in my opinion. Now,
Really? Oh, hell. And the black community?
no, I'm not talking about black. I'm just talking about the country as a whole. I feel like we have progressed into this very uncomfortable place. Didn't start there, right? But I'm talking about where we are today as far as, women earning, having the pressures to earn more, having the pressure to be more boss chicks, having the pressure to be a mother, a six-figure earner, a wife, like all of these things.
Keep going. I got questions because you mentioned this. You mentioned a lot, like, but keep going.
Yeah, I mean,
Because you
yes,
said pressure.
we
keep
should
going. I'm
be
sorry.
able to be feminine. We should be. It is just not easy to do that. Black women specifically aren't really afforded that luxury. To get ahead in professional settings, you can't be meek. To, just operate in the society. We could talk about, let's just say, for example, right? And because I do not want this to become like,
No, we could take it. We could take it wherever you want to go. Go ahead. Go ahead. We take it wherever you want to go. We can take it wherever you want to go. Go ahead.
Okay. But yes, that's hard to explain. That's really going to be hard for me to explain it to you, but that was just my experience, my reality. I didn't realize that I wasn't operating in my feminine energy. There's just this where your productivity equals your value. It equals how good you are, and just being is more of the feminine. So as women, professional women, you're encouraged to share your wins and promote your goals and promote your business and promote.
I thought that's what women want. Is that just social media? I thought the women wanted to be boss chicks.
That's a lot of this social structure and societal pressures. I know that's what we think we want, because that's what this society has taught us to want, and that's why so many Black women today are struggling with anxiety and depression and all of these other challenges of addiction, because we are trying to fit into a structure that isn't innate and it isn't naturally what we're meant to do.
Why? But but why aren't they like being honest in saying that? Because all you hear now is boss chick, boss chick, boss chick, 6 figures, boss chick, boss chick, boss chick, boss chick.
It's marketable.
Oh, okay, here we go. Here's my question. So what's really going on after they do their boss chick stuff during the day in public and they come home at night? What happens when they come home?
They're taking shots before they get into the house. They're smoking weed. They're popping Xanax. They're popping Adderall. They stressed out. I have a very solid community of strong professional women that are high earners that do well. And that's one of the reasons why I prefer to work with, higher income earners, because they are, even though they're making a lot of money, they're stressed, they're depressed, they're fueled with anxiety. They're near alcoholics. Yes.
Really?
Yes. I do not know one Black woman in America that is healthily operating without some level of anxiety or depression.
So I'm gonna need the women to call. So when we open up the lines in about 20 minutes, I'm gonna need the women to call in and speak on that, because we just taught that's not that.
If you see, that's why these retreats, these brunches, these women.
Hold on. Queen Afua.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why she's doing so well. These wellness movements are they're needed, right? Like, they're necessary, because women are really doing the most, and they're not meant to do the most. They say they want it because they see all of the other women doing it, and they think that's what they're supposed to do. And they think that's what it means to be a strong, independent Black woman. But it's got us all messed up, honestly. Like it's tearing apart. It's not allowing us as women to just be in our divine feminine. And that is also contributing to the dynamics of why our families are not as strong as they should be. It is not to take away any accountability or responsibility on, the collective, because it is the male, the Black male, and the Black woman's role, but specifically for myself and taking that level of accountability. That's what I see. That's what I've seen coming out of it. And now being kind of back in it, I'm just like, oh no. So that was the plus for me. One of the pluses in Tanzania.
But let's go back a little bit to you said that the United States of America, not just the Black community, the Black community is matriarchal, if you ask me, but the United States of America is patriarchal.
Yes.
Compared to Tanzania.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying. Let me ask you this. So I'm going to ask you. I'm sorry.
I don't really want to say in comparison, because Tanzania's newer democracy is shifting in ways where I just feel like the fundamentals of what America represents as success, as, just as simple as like women leave. Like we're just now putting policy in place for companies, the government, to require women to have time off of their job after they have birth and not lose their job. Like that has not been mandatory in most of the US. Like returning to work after 6 weeks, 12 weeks. That's just unheard of. The average African society is like, 6 months, a year. That's just one of the basic points.
Okay. All right. I just always thought that, and I'm probably looking at it from a Black American's perspective, not an overall American perspective, but Africa's definitely more patriarchal than the Black community is matriarchal. But go ahead.
I think we used to be, right? It used to be all about Big Mama's house on Sunday and like getting together and going to church. Like I don't necessarily really see that anymore. I do think that there are a lot of single women, and I don't know if that's like, if you're defining it based on single women raising children as matriarchal, but no, like that pushes the woman more into her masculine energy, having to take on both roles, mother and a father. Like she's not allowed to just be the mother. She has to take on all of the roles of rearing a child. So yeah, I don't know. Like it's complicated, right? It's complicated, but right. I don't really have these conversations a lot with my Black women friends that are professionals here, because they don't see it. And so they also can take that as like me being offensive or critiquing them, but I recognize it because I also was in that. We're not allowed to just be in that feminine energy. We've had to equate our value with how much we're able to accomplish, how much we're able to make, how much we're able to buy and own, and those things. This Black woman in luxury concept is patriarchal, because we don't see a lot of these women pushing that narrative as wives, as mothers. And so yeah, that's my take on it.
All right, so Alexis Fowler says, I'd rather support my father or future husband's businesses than be a boss chick. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. However it works. To me, it's more about just a healthy dynamic, a healthy relationship, and what it takes to keep that going. Okay, go potty.
Hey, baby Ashley.
Okay, go. I need help. 1 second.
Oh, go ahead. Go do your belly duties. No problem. Hey, guys, hit that like button. Also, to the link to the Telegram for Donfo. Again, guys, the site is almost done. Okay, it is almost done. I had to fire. My previous developer. I got a new developer, and he has done more in the last 24 hours than my previous developer did in a whole month. So, y'all go ahead and join the Donfo group. So you stay up to date with the travel company. Also, Donfo.Africa. Cat is out the bag. I already shared the website with you guys one time. But hopefully, or not even hopefully, the website will be done Sunday. It will be done Sunday, guys. So that's where we're at. All right, so Tanzania. Let's jump Tanzania.
So
what
pro.
else was the pro? Did we do the cons yet? Did we do the cons yet? Or
no? I'm still on pros.
Oh, go ahead.
Cost of living, we already talked about that. Oh, just the beauty of the country. So, it's coastal. It's also accessible with a lot of nature. It was beautiful, stunning, everything. And also being back in nature, like I know that helped a lot and allowed me to like reconnect to myself. And then I say the last pro is it's one of the fastest economically developing countries in East Africa. Probably one also like up there in the world pre-pandemic. A lot of countries in Africa saw huge setbacks that were rapidly moving forward. So I'd say that is my last pro about Tanzania. Cons. I think it was really challenging for me to see the effect of colonialism in that country, and seeing how foreigners were like respected more, specifically European foreigners. In Zanzibar, there are properties where only there's an Italian resort where only Italians are allowed to stay. So
over by Nungwi or Kin, is it by Nungwi or Kindwa?
I know you're talking about. Kindwa. During the pandemic, it was completely shut down. Like nobody was there. Beautiful, and I was shocked.
He's trolling. Ignore him. He's trolling. But thank you for the super chat. Gassed him up. Thank you for the super chat. Okay. He's trolling. Go ahead. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Go ahead.
So that was interesting to see. That was a little tough to see. I did have some conflict, with a couple a carpenter and an Uber driver, just trying to get over a little bit.
Trying to get over on you. Oh, they have Uber. They have Uber in Tanzania.
They do. They have Uber and Bolt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm gonna go back to the pros. Internet is great. Like, I don't know if there's this misconception that like the internet is bad out there. No, the internet is really good. I had a great internet provider. I paid unlimited. I had unlimited, data. It was expensive.
How much? $100 a month?
$120 a month.
Yeah, you gotta have it on in it. Yeah, you gotta pay the extra.
You gotta have it. And then we streamed everything. So I didn't have cable. I had a smart TV. We had several devices and it worked great. But yeah, like small, like it was minor, nothing major. Again, I had some meetings with like some government officials. I was trying to do some business, and just that shift of like recognizing and respecting, an African American woman. It was different. That was different. But, nothing like, that I'm willing to say like is a strong con, because it was adjustment. I traveled a lot before, going to Tanzania. So when you do travel places, you recognize that there's going to be some adjustment, and it rarely serves you to be critical of the place that you're going, especially if you're trying to build there.
Tunaja says Uber's everywhere. That's not true, Tunaja. Uber's not in Sierra Leone. Uber's not in Liberia, Senegal. Now Uber's in Ghana and Nigeria, but I didn't know it was in Tanzania. That's what's up.
Yeah, it's there.
That's what's up. So you stayed in Zanzibar, am I correct?
No, I lived in Dar es Salaam, or like a suburb of Dar es Salaam. Yeah.
Okay. How much? Like, okay, for how much was it as far as renting and like?
Yeah, it was. I had a 3-bedroom, 3-bath with a den. Pretty newly renovated, all air conditioning, and a servant quarters with a full bathroom and a living space, and a compound with very secure. I was paying $475 a month.
That's it.
That's it. And I paid her 6 months in advance. Probably a 10-minute boat ride to the ocean, to the beach. Okay. Yeah, loved it. I was paying so much more in Atlanta.
Oh, listen. So when did you leave Atlanta again? You said 2020. You know, houses on Bankhead now, new construction townhomes are going for $500,000 on Bankhead.
Wow.
In the trap.
And it's pew, pew, pew all over the place.
Well, it's changing, but still, who would have thought off of Bankhead? $500,000.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
I thought we'll see spaceships. So I'm starting to see spaceships on Bankhead. That we'll see spaceships on Bankhead before $500,000 townhomes.
Yeah.
So
I can believe it. It's still in the perimeter. So.
And so, you could be back on mommy duty. Okay, no problem. Guys, hit the like button. Also, one more time, in the chat room is the Telegram link. Guys, please join the Telegram. Links in the chat room. Please join the Telegram for Downfall. I appreciate it. All right, so Tanzania, pros, we did the cons. Yeah. Then go to South Africa. You go to South Africa.
Yeah. So I
what?
So I realized at about 8 months, Tanzania was great, but I definitely was missing certain luxuries, and I didn't want to give those up.
Like what?
Well, so one of the things about Tanzanian men specifically is they
aggressive.
No, actually the opposite. The total opposite. Very caring, very endearing, very kind.
But they want something in return. Like it's
No.
Okay. I'm sorry. Let me shut up. Go ahead. Hey, baby Ashley. Hey, baby Ashley.
Okay. Say hi.
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 Hey.
Okay, say bye. Go back into your picnic.
But we are there.
Yes, go back to your picnic. Not many of them. So I'm not going to say all, because I did meet some men that had traveled internationally. But poverty is real. And so the average earner is making $5,000 a year. Doctors don't even make more than $20,000 a year in Tanzania. So unless you have traveled, your income potential is pretty low unless you work for the government. And even then, a lot of times, they're married in their 20s. Okay. So that was challenging, right? To connect emotionally, and intellectually. It was just okay, really nice guys. No, not aggressive. It just, for me, it wasn't a fit. It wasn't a fit. What's wrong? Why your face look like that?
I'm reading the comments. You got some trolls in the comments. I'm just okay, where that? So it just random stuff will pop up, and I'm just Okay, so we'll ignore it. So you go to South Africa.
Yes. And so because I recognize South Africa as like, financial hub, launch pad of business in the continent, I felt like there would be more, intellectual matches there, just experience having been around and traveled to other places and just having that level of exposure to make it not awkward.
Uh-huh. Guys, hit the like button. Again, please hit the like button. And also to join the Telegram group for the tour company is in the chat room. All right, go ahead, Ashley.
Okay. She took a long nap today, so she's like,
so she's ready to go. And she's ready to go. Okay, so South Africa, financial hub. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and just luxuries. Fine dining, food is okay. Food is good in Tanzania. It's very fresh, but like I was just missing a diversity of food. Shopping is really challenging for kids.
Diversity of food, like what? Like what kind of different food?
Really everything. Like
listen, the best Chinese food, one of the top 3 Chinese food restaurant food I ever had on the planet. My top 3. So in Dar es Salaam, there's a hotel called the Tanzania Tanzania. I gotta look it up. Something Sweets. There's a Chinese restaurant around the corner from it.
Really? That was one of the biggest. That was missing Chinese food so bad.
And y'all don't judge me because I know we talk about Chinese food in Africa.
Exactly. I didn't want to say
judge me all, I know we be on that Chinese in Africa, but listen. Let me tell you the name of the hotel. Hold on. Let me tell you the name of the hotel. Let me look it up real quick. It's always right around the corner.
In Dar?
In Dar. Hold on. I'm going to tell you the name right now. Tanzanite Executive Suites.
Oh, wow. I got to write that down because I was.
So when I first went to Africa, this is where I stayed at when I was in Dar. Tanzanite Executive Suites. It's off of Molly. It's on Molly Street. Listen, around the corner from there was a China. I walked out the hotel and I was like, I'm hungry. And this expat said there's a Chinese restaurant on the corner. Because see, the thing is, like Tanzania, it isn't like when I'm in Nigeria where you can walk out and there's street food everywhere. Yeah. So when I was there, but this is a long time ago. This is like 2011, so it probably changed. This is a long time ago. So they're like, there's a Chinese restaurant around the corner. Guys, I was hungry. I was starving. I went to that Chinese restaurant. At the time, it was the best Chinese food I ever had. But I found another Chinese restaurant when I was living in LA called Chin Dynasty off of Hillhurst. That right there was the best Chinese food I've ever had. But the spot around the corner from Tanzanite Executive Suites, that Chinese food was smacking.
I'm gonna find out if it's still there because I went all the way to Arusha for some Chinese food.
Are you serious? So there's two around the corner from the Tanzanite Executive Suites. I don't remember which one it was.
Okay.
But there's two, like they're right next to each other from that hotel.
Okay.
So you just got to try both. Go to one for lunch, go to one for dinner.
What year was this?
This is 2011.
Because
that was 11 years ago.
Yeah, the late president, Dr. John Magufuli, had some challenges with the Chinese, and a lot of them left during his.
I ain't mad. I understand.
Yeah, he put a lot of them out.
Yeah.
And so there were a lot of like vacant buildings and things like that some of my friends would tell me like, oh yeah, that was a Chinese development, or that was where the Chinese would stay and blah, blah, blah. So that could be why. Because even this Chinese place in Arusha was not like Chinese. So, but yeah, I was missing just the diversity of food. Shopping was really hard. Secondhand clothing is big there, so like a lot of the clothing that they would receive, excuse me, sorry, that they would receive was like, from China, so not really well made. So it was really hard to just buy things for the kids. And also myself, hair products was really hard to find.
Yeah,
Um,
just use some shea butter.
yeah, you could do that, but shea butter don't work for, everything, every style. I mean, my hair did grow out there and I was doing all the natural things and it was fine, but it was just a few things that I was missing, and I knew I didn't have to give those up, in South Africa. And so I wanted to pick my battles,
Okay.
like I definitely want to be on the continent. I also want all of what it means to be on the continent, but like I don't necessarily want to deal with, and then there were some parts of the month where the electricity would go in and out. But again, I wasn't really complaining about those things because I was expecting them. But
Somebody says Shadi in Africa talk about she need hair products. Like what kind of what kind of hair products? Like help me out.
So
I know you're a woman. You're
so gel. I mean, gel, certain styling products. Okay. You'd be surprised. I mean, that industry specifically is one of the growing, like the biggest opportunity areas on the continent. So you have a lot of young women that are making beauty and hair products right now that are going to be super successful because a lot of the products that are there are from China. They still push perms over there on the continent, like
and hair hats and bad weaves. I know.
Yeah, bad weave and stuff like that. So the natural hair is just not something that a lot of the women do. Now there are salons and like certain places that are doing that. It's just not the majority.
Yeah, don't judge me. I'm sorry. See, I was vulnerable and told you guys I was eating Chinese food in Africa. I'm sorry. Guys, don't judge me. I was hungry. Okay. And it was like, there's a Chinese restaurant around the corner. And I went and that Chinese food was smacking. Okay. It was smacking. All right. So don't judge me. Okay. So you go to South Africa, you got your hair products, you got was it Kingston curls and the curl butters and
Carol's daughter.
Carol's daughter.
Grocery store. I was like, let me get all that.
Oyen handmade. What else? Oyen, Carol's daughter.
That's all they had. That's all that I saw was Carol's daughter, and that's all. Honestly, like it was life changing for me because that was really all that I need. There's such a plethora of that in like Atlanta, like all the black hair care products. So I hadn't really found like my formula when I was in South Africa. All they had, it was exactly what I needed, and I haven't gone back to using the other products. Also, like stick deodorant. That wasn't really hard. That was not easy to find in Tanzania. And when you did find it, it was like $7.
Was that expensive? Yeah. Listen, like true story. I was in Tanzania. I wear contacts. I gotta wear contacts. I can't see. So I was in Arusha. Now, when I was in Arusha in 2011, actually, there was only one stoplight in the whole city, right? I don't know how it is now, but it was only one stoplight in the whole city. I'm looking for eye contact solution for my contacts. Can't find it anywhere. I finally found one store. You want to know how much that eye contact solution was for a little thing?
Little one, like $10,
$20.
Yeah, expensive. Those products, like the lotion, the shampoo, it's a lot of like whitening.
Yeah.
Stuff. So it's just that's a part of it too, right? So like those things, I just didn't really want. I brought a suitcase full of products, so I was also prepared. But then I was like, okay, this is not necessarily sustainable for me long term.
You're like Nigeria, then they got everything in Nigeria.
I don't deny it. I don't deny that I will like Nigeria. I also loathe this like Nigeria versus South Africa vibe that I've been feeling, not from you, But I think in general, as two of the richest nations on the continent, like they have to work that out. Like they
They
definitely
will.
they
They'll get it together. They'll get it together.
I don't deny it. I don't deny it. There's not a place that I think that I won't find something of value, you know, in on the continent. Because I just absolutely love being there.
So South Africa. So pros and cons. Okay, so your house in South Africa was $487 a month.
No.
Okay, so pros and cons. And then another question I got:
Yeah.
being, do you consider yourself a single mother?
Yeah, the solo
Okay,
mother.
solo mother. Okay, so being a solo mother, how was that transition as a solo mom? And then the pros and cons of South Africa.
So the girls actually stayed when I was in South Africa. They stayed at home in Tanzania. So I got to go on that trip by myself, and like do discovery. And it was hard to like look at schools and all of that stuff. And, I knew it was going to be harder to move around with them, because of the restrictions that were still in place. And, plus I had an opportunity to leave them, with care and to keep them in school. So that part I really can't speak to of what it would be like. I saw what I loved just about South Africa was also just like the amount of kids you would see everywhere. So it's not like, you can't go anywhere with your kids. I mean, yeah, you're not going to go to like the bar or maybe like Sunday brunches or whatever, like certain vibes, but there are many places where families go or where people go where you can bring your children. And so I explored a lot of those places, a lot of like restaurants that had adjoining parks or like adjoining equestrian centers, like the malls, they have play centers. You go to the grocery store and they have like an attendant that will watch them play on the playground. So that part, that's what I saw, and I totally love that. The schools are great, some of the best schools on the continent, or really in the world, and they're so affordable. Also, you can get help and support there also, and it's very affordable.
Very affordable. Guys, hit that like button. Again, please hit the like button. Shout out to Queen Maud. Thank you for the super chat. Africa the Great, thank you for the super chat. Guys, I appreciate it. Salute Prince Dinus Amir. Keep that common sense content going. Guys, again, here we go. Dinus. Hold on one second. Guys, Telegram links in the chat room. And there was a comment here, but the comments are going so fast, I couldn't. Okay, here we go. How did the and we spoke on this the previous show. How did the father feel about you taking the kids? I don't know. Did we cover that or did we? We didn't.
Not today. Originally the concept was cool. The idea that it would just be for an opportunity of exposure. I think like many under-traveled African Americans or just Americans in general, like their understanding of the continent is so small. And what they get and what they understand is like propaganda fueled. And, it is a challenge. It is a point of conflict, but like, I've just stopped trying to convince people that, Africa is this place of, poverty, sickness, and, jungle, right? Like that's not the case. And I just don't do that anymore. So what I recognize is like it will take some time for him to recognize and understand the value and what they are experiencing and are exposed to. For now, you just don't have to see it on the gram.
Okay. Okay. Guys, hit that like button. Oh, somebody was asking, what are the negatives of South Africa? Like the cons, any cons? Like what?
Um, from my opinion, South Africans are so patriotic. So like I don't come for them. The history is very dynamic. I'm still learning a lot about the post-apartheid regime and how that impacted all of the cultures, the tribes, the
Mhm.
races of people. Um, it's a dynamic history.
Mhm.
And with that, you're likely gonna make mistakes or see things that are uncomfortable. The concept of calling someone colored in America is like, for us, like that's just, you know, trauma response, but
Right,
there
but that's how they do it.
it's
Yeah,
an
that's
actual racial
right.
definition. Um, I think, the rand is a little volatile, but what market, isn't right
That's
now?
that's all currency in Africa currently.
Exactly. So like, you know, I just so far there's just that adjustment. There's just that adjustment. Ironically, like all of my children were all like we have different skin tones. So um when we're there together, it'll be interesting to see like how that plays out. And because in Tanzania that was a little for my oldest daughter, she's brown skin. And so she would like people would speak to her and be like, oh, that's weird, but
Mhm.
that happens, those things are they just happen. I personally today don't have any like cons other than just I feel like because South Africa is the most developed country, they have the most propaganda coming against them. So people are
Mhm.
always coming for South Africa. And, it just feels like getting family and friends on board is a challenge because that's all they hear the propaganda about South Africa. Oh, it's not safe, or it's, this or that. And I just ask, like, well, how's it looking in your
In
local?
Chicago, in LA, in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
in
Yeah, exactly.
Atlanta, like in Boston.
Right.
How's it
How's it
looking
look?
out there these days? So
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. Guys, the lines are open. Links in the chat room. If you'd like to call in and add to the conversation, please click on the link and you can join the chat. Yeah, don't be trolling. Please don't be trolling because we got a lot of trolls in the chat tonight. But if you would like to call in, click on the link. It's in the chat room. And I like for some of the ladies to call in.
Yeah,
Some of the
ladies,
ladies
come
called in.
through.
Yeah, come
Come
through.
through. I do
Come
think
through.
that, wherever we go, if we're leaving the West, we're leaving America, wherever we go on the continent is where we should go. Because we all understand that the goal of one Africa is only possible if Africa unites. And so we got to be everywhere to make that happen.
Mhm. All right, Dr. K. Sim, go ahead. Unmute
Yeah,
yourself.
you mentioned that you couldn't really find someone at your, level to date in Tanzania. How is it going in South Africa?
So I didn't mean to imply that I didn't find anybody that wasn't on my level. I did. I had some dates in Tanzania of men that were great. So like that is not what I meant to imply if that is how it came off. But I did have a great time dating in South Africa. Yes, I had a great time.
Okay, and like, how do you maintain the slightly higher living? How did you maintain higher living standards in South Africa? Did you have a business that was paying for the rent?
So for about a year, I was able to get income on an insurance policy that just allowed me to work through some of the anxieties that I was experiencing after working in like an extremely volatile and toxic work environment. So I was getting that income. And I will say, I didn't really see the contrast in South Africa's living cost of living outside of entertainment, because I didn't really go out a lot in Tanzania. I went out more when I was in South Africa because there was just so much to do. But I also was on dates, so I didn't really pay for a lot of those entertainment experiences. The cost, I'd say maybe the biggest difference was in the housing, but a beautiful home in a community with a pool was like $900 a month, so maybe double what I was paying. But at the time while I was there, I was childless. I was living in like beautiful hotels, so it was fine. I also had pretty, prepared myself financially, pretty strong investments. The market was doing pretty well, so I was yielding strong investments there and saving money. This time around, I am making money through working remotely and building a business. So, with all of those, what do you call them? All of those ways of earning income, I'll be able to sustain just fine.
So why didn't you, did you consider going to Nairobi? Because that's also a pretty developed city, and you can get most of what you need there. Do you have any plans in the future to see Nairobi or?
Yeah, I did actually have a trip booked for my first exit. So the visa that I had for Tanzania was a tourist visa, and so for our first exit, we planned to go to Nairobi and Mombasa, but they had like a lockdown at the time, so we had to cancel our trip. I absolutely plan on visiting Nairobi, and I hear that it's very developed. I also hear it's a little chilly there.
100%.
Year round.
Well, it's chilly in South Africa during
during the summer. It is, well, during our summer, their winter. But like Johannesburg, Durban, not so much. But it does get a little chilly. So,
Yeah, that's true. I'm actually in Nairobi right now. It's cold. I had to buy a heater 2 days ago because I couldn't stand the cold, and that's coming from UK, so it's too cold. I can't stand it here at night. During the day it's okay, but during the evening hours it just gets too cold. It's a little bit difficult to sort of survive. And did you? Because I would say in Kenya you can find all these foods like Chinese restaurant, everything. I think here you just have to kind of ask someone, because it's interesting. That's what I've noticed here. It's like everything is there, but you need to know someone who knows where to find stuff. Like if you wanted any kind of cuisine, you could find a high end dining, but you just need to know where it is. They're all sort of hiding themselves in some areas. And in terms of South Africa, so how did the locals? I suppose, how do they take you on? Do they think you're black? Do they think you're colored? Or what sort of interaction did you have with the locals in South Africa?
So the interactions were positive. I mean, maybe until I spoke, they probably assumed I was colored. But I had no, issues with being treated differently. I think, in fact, being an American probably attracted people to like wanting to talk to me or get to know me better, and understand like why I was there, what I was doing there, why I was even considering coming there. Because, a lot of people I would interact with there, it was their dream, to go to America. So why was I there in their country? But it was positive. It was positive. The people of South Africa were very, very friendly to me, very welcoming. I didn't have any negative experience really until this day, as I share on my channel just my experience in South Africa and what I'm learning about the country, because I watch the news and try to stay abreast of what's going on, and comment here and there because I don't know enough to really have an opinion. I only get love, and support from the South African community.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. So, what's your future business plans coming up in the next, I guess, 1 year, like in relation to Africa?
Yeah. So you, the last time you were on, you shared an interesting business model for the coffee business. My goal is to do intracontinental African trade, like within produce of, I have an exporting license from Tanzania for fruit, vegetables, and coffee. So I want to really be able to explore that and just learn more. I've worked in beverage before, so I understand like the beverage industry well. So manufacturing coffee beverages, fruit beverages, and exporting them throughout the continent is a part of that plan, as well as developing other entrepreneurs that want to go into that space. So, creating some type of curriculum to support Africans really all over the continent that want to go into entrepreneurial endeavors, training them with the skills that they need to be able to do so and be successful. That's not necessarily the 1 year plan. I think that's the long-term plan, but 1 year is working on importing products into South Africa from Tanzania.
Yeah, so just
Dr. K Sim, let me get some other callers on here, brother. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, Dr. K Simp. Hilarious.
All right, and Zania, go ahead.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hi, sis.
Fine, how are you?
Zania.
I'm good. I just discovered both of your guys' channels today. First time here.
Yay. Welcome.
I'm from South Africa, and when I asked you about the cons, you are just very like spot on, and it has nothing to do with you being a foreigner. It's just how it is this side. Like even when you live here with different tribes and everything, the language barrier, different provinces, is very hard to like move around, and it's kind of mandatory to at least know one language, the vernacular, which is like Zulu, and then you can communicate. And as for the propaganda, I see it a lot on YouTube. I'm so lost at how people view South Africa as like the poor country. I didn't even know it until I came on YouTube, and I'm like, oh my God, what is going on out there? Because when you're like living here, you don't have no idea of the view they have. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what's going to change or how it's going to change, but I do see a lot of American YouTubers doing a lot of vlogs, especially in Cape Town, and they are selling their country in a very good light, and they're like spreading the word out there. And I'm just like shocked at how we live in South Africa, but we have no idea how badly viewed we are from the outside. It's shocking. But thank you for your guys' channel. It's amazing, and definitely gonna subscribe.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate you.
Shop.
Oh, she's gone.
She left. Oh, she left. Okay. All right, U.S. lawyer. U.S. lawyer, go ahead.
How you doing? Yeah, I spent a lot of time in South Africa. I got a house there. I used to spend maybe 3-4 months out of the year there. I was married to a nurse in South Africa, but South Africa is the most westernized country in Africa, and it's also, I think people still haven't really dealt with apartheid. It's very traumatized. The racial views you have there, especially like she's like, I'm probably maybe a little lighter complected than her, maybe her complexion. They considered me to be colored, and which I thought was a little bizarre. But if you find a lot of the just hatred that a lot of colors have for black, there's a lot of animosity between so-called colors and blacks. Even though some of them get along, I mean, I've had some of the things that I've had my wife's family tell me, was shocking to me. As a matter of fact, we had some house that we were going to rent out there. We were moving to another house, and my wife, we had a big fight over she didn't want to rent to Nigerians. So that's, tight. And also I find that South Africans, they are so busy trying to be Westernized and trying to be accepted by the West that they really don't have an identity. They accept all this feminine stuff to the nth degree, everything else, the homosexuality, all the stuff they accept there. They're like a microcosm, and they take it on with force. I mean, anything. It's like a country that really has no, it really has no identity itself. It's just so busy trying to be part of the West that it has no identity of itself, and it's almost lost its identity. And that's what I've seen there from spending that. And I started going in 2010. You know, I've been in like 15 African countries. I've been in Nigeria and Kenya and Madagascar and all over the place, but in Ethiopia. I'm just saying, it's just that South Africa is just. When I first came there, I was kind of enamored with it. And don't get me wrong, everybody there was generally nice to me. They're very friendly people, and they're always usually interested when they see that there's a foreigner there. I had people stop and talk to me, but just when you start talking to people in private, just that anxiety, the angst that they had, you know, not so much between like black tribes, even though you had some of that, but especially that colored black thing. And and I think that reminds me of what we used to have here during, say, the 50s, where they had brown bag clubs, and where there was a big thing with light-skinned blacks and one black, dark-skinned black, and you had to have a paper bag. If you was darker than a paper bag, you couldn't get in the club, all that kind of stuff. That mentality's there. And most of the colors speak Afrikaans, which is a white language.
What part of South Africa are you speaking about? Where were you?
In Johannesburg. I got a house in Johannesburg, but I've spent a lot of time in Sandton, Johannesburg, all over there, and some of those other, I can't even tell the name, but there's some outlying areas. I've been to what's that country there? It's like a little camp. I can't think of the name. You know the one there. It's
the country inside the country. God, come on.
Lesotho, and then we got this other place.
Lesotho.
And then I also been to. I don't know why I'm having a hard time. I must be drinking too much coffee. I'm having a hard time calling it. But there's you know, the country where the guy has all the wives at. You know, and it's another country.
Not Lesotho. It's hold on. I'll tell you right now.
Huh?
Are you talking about the country inside?
I put my passport that I could say. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but I've been there. I've been all over Africa. I've been all over South Africa driving around, and I'm just saying, it's just, you know, it's just that kind of racial thing just really threw me off. I mean, and the depth of it, you know, and this idolization.
Swaziland. It's Swaziland.
Swaziland. Yeah, I've been to Swaziland. It was like Swaziland reminded me of like a little. I thought it was like you had to go through so many checkpoints to get in and out. I felt like I was going to a concentration camp, but it was nice once I got in there and left. It was a beautiful place in there.
Concentration camp.
Yeah, but they have you going from one station checking your passport to another station checking your passport to. I was like, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? How many times you need to check my passport, you know, for me to get in there, and even coming out. But anyways, it was nice when I got in there. But I'm just saying, I mean, just that the mentality that goes on there. These people, there's a white worship going on there, and it's still going on. That apartheid mentality hasn't died. Another thing I've noticed is you'll be driving around on the roads, and white people. I've been in shops there, like nail shops. I took my wife to get her nails and stuff done up in Stanton, and you know, it was actually when I went in there. I'm from Arizona. And there was a white girl. As soon as I started talking, she said she was running the shop. She said, "Oh, I know you're from the state," because she's apparently from Paradise Valley, which is close to where I live in Scottsdale. So she was saying, "Yeah, I'm from the States." I guess she came there when they had that soccer thing. The World Cup was held there, and she said she liked it there. She saw opportunities, so she came back to Paradise Valley, sold all her stuff, moved to Santon, opened up a nail shop, and it was a nice nail shop. That thing was packed. We couldn't even get an appointment. We had to come back the next day. My wife's getting a pedicure and manicure. I was gonna get a pedicure. Pedicure, I guess. But anyways, but the thing about it is the mentality. I mean, that language, Afrikaans is very harsh language. The way she was talking.
Hey, U.S. lawyer, we're gonna get another caller on here. Anything else you want to share? Another question you gotta ask before I bring somebody else on?
No, I'm just saying, South Africa, you really don't almost escape a lot of the stuff that goes on here. It's just a mentality that goes on. But I'll leave it at that.
All right, for sure, but hey, appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shout out to Q Butter for the super chat. All right. I wonder who. Listen, so I'm gonna go Josie Gold, and I'm gonna bring two Naja and Pan Africanism strikes back on at the same time. Gaz Day Up, I'm not bringing you on, brother. He did super chat. Okay, hold on. Gaz Day Up, listen, I'm gonna let you troll for a minute. You got a minute to troll, okay? Because you did super chat. I appreciate that.
I'm
So,
not prepared for the trolls.
huh?
No, I'm not. I'm not. There's no trolling tonight. We're not trolling tonight, man. We playing around. But listen, look, I wanted to
Okay.
ask her. Dynasty was like, wait, he's waiting for the Dutch. No, I'm not gonna do that tonight, man. But
Okay,
no, I
okay.
wanted to ask her because the sister mentioned something that was very, very key, and I wanted to highlight on that and then ask her how she thinks we can expound on that. She says something about intra-African trade, and I want to highlight, at least in my research to the audience, to say historically, when you look at these kingdoms that we like to talk about, whether it's Zimbabwe, Benin, Mansa Musa, none of those kingdoms were created. I'm talking about trillions of dollars of wealth were created with international trade, right? The international trade that we have today was forced upon us by colonization. We built wealth with intra-Africa trade. And so that's something I think we miss a lot of times, where it's like we're always looking to the outside to say, hey, we have to generate this wealth by trading with outsiders. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the wealthiest, most powerful nations that we've seen in our recorded history came from intra-Africa trade. So I wanted to ask her, what are some of the limitations that she sees, the impediments to that, and what are ways that people like us who are like-minded thinkers could do to get around that?
Yeah, great question. So the challenges, I will say, are just like logistical. So roads, right? Like being able to move around the continent easily. Depending on where you are, it depends on how easy it is to get there. So around COVID, I think a lot of things were halted. But I think those things are lightening up now as restrictions are being pulled back. A lot of the trucking investment was foreign. So from my understanding, like, I don't know that this is like the hardcore truth, but trucking as an industry seemed to be financed largely by like international power. So like China, French, they were the ones that were maybe supplying the trucks, and the drivers were African and they were being paid, really low wages. So trucking is a huge business, a huge opportunity there, but it's also like the infrastructure to be able to travel to and from certain countries. I do know that there's a lot of business being done on the roads between like Tanzania and South Africa. So I know that there isn't a lot of barrier there, which is why that's kind of where I'm focusing. But air freight is expensive, and I think that's really the biggest challenge, is the logistical transit from east to west. And I don't know about west to south, so I can't really speak on that, but I know specifically east to west seems to be a challenge, and countries are still importing goods that are available on the continent and are being manufactured on the continent.
Thank you very much, sister. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you for asking that. You're muted, Dynus. You're muted.
Okay, my bad. Okay, I'm back. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Man, we got. Okay, so I'm gonna do Josie Gold and Zania, then Brandon and Two Niger closing out. Hey, Rue, we have to get to you another time, Rue. All right, Josie Gold, go ahead. One question. Go ahead.
I don't have a
Josie
question. Yeah,
Gold.
I
Go
don't have
ahead.
a question to make. I have a statement to make. Like the previous guy, was it like what's that guy's name? I forgot what his name. The guy who says South Africa's westernized and so on and so forth.
Oh, the
The
US.
lawyer. You
Nah,
lawyer.
man, we're not westernized. We just have a different culture. Get to know the actual culture of the people. Yeah, the US lawyer. Get to know the people first. Like, I don't think that guy really knows our people. And we're not trying to be Western. Look, man, we're just different people. We have our own history. We have our own ways of just doing things. and the whole colored thing that he was talking about. Look, the reality is this: there's a colored community. They have their own culture that they've created. So when someone sees someone who looks like a colored person, it's not meant in an offensive way. Most black people and colored people don't hate each other. It's just a cultural thing that developed over time. So no, the whole
Did we lose him? Josie. Yeah, I think we lost him.
I tell you, South Africans don't come for them.
Josie. I think we lost him. Oh, okay. All right, let's see here. Brandon, go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, I want to talk more about the business aspect. That's cool, but I want to ask 3 questions. First question is, did you date any white guys while you were in South Africa?
No.
So you dated all black guys?
Yes, all Africans.
Okay. Second question is, how do you feel more empowered in Africa, which is most of the societies there are patriarchal societies, than in America, where this society is increasingly matriarchal, or like, it's evolving into something where women have more, black women, they say here that they have more power and influence.
Hey, Brandon. So I asked her that. She said she thinks it's more patriarchal here in America.
Okay, well then it's more patriarchal here. I think it's more patriarchal there because you could pretty much just fight a woman or anything and not really go get arrested or anything like that. But hey, who knows?
Right, that's true. You're right about that. I've seen that happen. I can't really argue, the levels of which patriarchy is like, causes the oppression or whatever from women. But I will say that just like, like I addressed earlier, the perception of Black women feeling empowered here, there's a strong trade-off of that. Your innate ability to just be a feminine woman, to be honored as a mother, to be honored as a wife, like that is looked down upon. You got to be able to, you got to earn your own money. You got to earn your 6-figure check. You got to have your $4,000 bag. There's a lot of pressure to really be a Black successful woman in the society in America. And although there are plenty of women on platforms showcasing how successful they are, rarely are they internally at peace.
Okay, my last thing. Can you give us one example of your worst date in Africa and then one example of your best date in America?
Well, I would absolutely not be comparing apples to apples, but I didn't have a worst date in Africa. I had great dates in Africa. I think the only difference with, dating an African men, they're just very intentional. They're going to tell you like really.
So why didn't you end up married then? Because that's my biggest thing. Like you're handling this very professionally, and Dynas is really like censoring us because we go crazy on women on this channel.
Listen, I'm taking deep breaths over here with you because I know you like to go in.
So I'm asking because he blocked when I did my super chats. He blocked those.
Hold on. I didn't block no super chats, Brandon. Stop.
Yo, moderators blocked it. But I was talking about, I said she looked kind of combative. She got that warrior nose. I could tell by the nose she'll fight you. Like, she got big nostrils so she could breathe a lot of air at one time. That's for fighting. But so why didn't you hit it off with any of those guys? Like, because Africans are intentional, and I know even with African women, you go on 3 dates with them and they talking about marriage. You feel me? So how did you end up how did you strike out?
I didn't strike out.
But you didn't end up taking the relationship to the next level.
You don't know what I'm doing.
You said you was in Tanzania and moved out the country. Right. So you had a good date and was like, all right, peace out to y'all.
I don't want to live in Tanzania. So I'm not going to get married in Tanzania if that's not where I want to live.
So why'd you go on dates out there?
Because at the time I was figuring out if I wanted to live there. I moved
Oh, okay, I'm
there.
asking.
Yeah,
Okay,
I moved
okay.
there
So what is your
thinking,
best date? Because the guys on here need to know what they need to do to maybe get with you. Like, how do they impress you? I think black women don't do that enough, telling men how they need to be treated to like view a guy as worthy. So what was your best date experience in America and Africa? You got to tell us that. We need to at least know that.
got it. So just because a man can take you on a fantastic date doesn't mean he is going to share your value system. So my best date in America, honestly, was going to a fundraiser for President Obama for his second term. That was like my first date with a guy. It was very impressive, and he was definitely trying to woo me. And he was a great guy, but ultimately wasn't the healthiest partner or like person for me to go into a relationship with. But he was a great guy. In South Africa and in Tanzania, I mean, I went on dinner dates and maybe like, dinner dates or like to a daytime party. So those were very normal, but that's also like, let's say 7 years difference. I haven't been, my goal when I was in Africa was not to date. I did date because I also wasn't on this like, oh, I don't need a man. I was just doing a lot of reflection and just a lot of like, just spending time enjoying just being a mom and not having to work. I came from working 80 hours a week in my role before I stopped working. So there was just a lot of decompression that needed to happen and reflection and just enjoying myself and being. But at the same time, I did, when I got comfortable with my surroundings and, being out with somebody and away from my children, like I opened myself up to that. So I don't know if that answers your question.
So what about America? Okay, so you don't like them broke. The dudes really didn't share your values. You needed the dude to know who Obama was. I assume you're a Democrat for that one. So why? It sounds like you're looking for an American man, a black man who's American.
He was actually a Republican. No, I'm looking for a healthy man. So like
we're all jacked up. All men are messed up. So you ain't gonna find that. So what about the best date in America?
I don't think that that's true.
Well, look at what is your history? What does history tell you? You ain't found one yet, right? I'm telling you, we all checked out.
I think we all have things that we're coming through. I think acknowledging that is important. I am not interested in dating or being with a man that doesn't see Africa as a part of the plan. And so currently in the US, like that's just not on the minds of many. It is on the minds of some. Just, I know that just because if they're not, on YouTube doesn't mean that it's not happening. But I'm saying that from my experience and the history of the men that I know, they're very inspired. They think it's dope that I'm there and I'm doing what I'm doing, but they don't have an interest and they're still working through the propaganda that they've been told that Africa is. And they want me to teach them and, expose them, which I'm happy to share and tell them about my experience, but I'm not convincing anybody about what Africa has to offer. So for me, the next steps of a relationship with somebody that recognizes like Africa is a part of the overall plan.
I mean, you got Dinah sitting right next to you. Look at them looking all handsome over there. Y'all could just do it right now. You see, I got my little minister robe on. I'll marry y'all right now on YouTube. Nah, hey, all right, thank you. You really danced around my damn question, but I'll let you slide because you know, I don't want you to fight me. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Brandon.
All right, Michelle. All right, two more callers, and then we'll close out. Okay, Rue, go ahead, Rue.
They were being nice the first time around.
Hey, Dinus. Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, I actually wanted to go after to Niger because I wanted to address this thing of South Africa and being westernized and stuff. I don't understand.
We'll just bring y'all on at the same time. But go ahead, Rue. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't understand this thing of why if an African country is developed, they call it westernized. So do they want African countries to be people to live in villages and in huts, like the stereotype that most people have. And these people that always complain about South Africa being westernized are the ones who run to Europe and America. And when they come on these YouTube channels, they're complaining, "Oh, South Africa is westernized." I don't understand why is that that especially Nigerians are the ones that always push this notion. And I wanted to get it from
Hey, right. You
why.
got two Nigerians on here. You got two Nigerians on here. But go ahead.
My apologies. I apologize, Didas. But I wanted to understand what is the thinking behind this.
Oh, you really want to know that? Sorry. Okay, let her answer. I think I'm not the guest because you wanted to ask me. So let the guest answer first.
So this is a part of what I was talking about in the beginning. I think, listen, Nigeria is one of the richest countries on the continent of Africa. South Africa and Nigeria go back and forth year over year. And there is a clear, separation or conflict that has been created. And I don't think it is between the two nations. I think there's a higher reason for this. I don't know, because I don't really know if there's any political or historical conflict that has happened, but it just seems like there is such strong opinions on both sides. Both countrymen are super patriotic about where they are from, and we are so much stronger, like together. I think conversation is healthy, but the conflict is so discouraging because the most power that is on the continent is practically in these two nations. And for whatever reason, the perception is that Nigerians don't like South Africans and South Africans don't like Nigerians. And these things, as far as like in communication on social media platforms seems to be true, but I think there's an opportunity to really like dissect it and get, over it. I think specifically one of the main reasons why so many people have this thing about South Africa and it being westernized and being too white is because it's the largest community of actual European settlers that actually stayed there and didn't leave and didn't flee or just colonize and leave. Like there's a lot of so-called
and they didn't take resources like the rest did it throughout Africa. They actually took the resources they got in South Africa and invested it in South Africa instead of taking it outside and building Europe like they did in all these other African countries.
Well, I think part of that is like the Afrikaners who I guess we relocated to South Africa. I don't think they're really welcome back to where they came from. I mean, from my understanding, I could be wrong. But this is one of the issues that I have as far as with South Africa. So when they handed over power to the blacks, Nelson Mandela, why in the hell did you guys give up your nuclear arsenal?
No, that was a deal. That was a deal between South Africa and the U.S. That wasn't a deal between.
But I mean, who does that?
How is that their business? It's not the
US
business.
That is political. That doesn't have to do with the South African people.
Correct.
This is government to government agreement. That hasn't. I think if they had.
Why do you think they needed to do that? Why do you think the US needed to do that?
You tell me, because I don't know.
Exactly.
Since you are an expert on South Africa, but I never seen you address Nigerians' issues.
I was addressing Nigerian issues, and the South African was feeling lonely on the chat.
But you never address those issues. But you guys are quick to jump on South Africa when there's a video about South Africa. There's a bunch of you on the comment sections.
Okay, let me explain to you. I think you asked a question about why we think South Africa is westernized, and some people feel like if South Africa is doing well and people are criticizing. I think I don't know whether is willfully missing the point. Nobody's criticizing Black South Africans for doing well. If anything, is the opposite. We want you to do better. And whenever somebody says, do better and don't fall asleep, don't behave like the way. See, let me finish my point. what the Democrats do to this thing, our community, that's black community in America, where they say, okay, everything is all good. Yet they are the one sitting there and not doing anything for the community at all, while they are doing everything for other communities. So when in Africa we see the same pattern repeating itself, where our own people are being lured to this in what do they call it, illusion of inclusion or something like that. This is what they are trying to tell you, that you shouldn't be complacent, because nothing
But let South
seriously has
Africans
changed.
address their own issues, though. Let South
But
Africans address their own
nobody is
issues.
saying that we
Why
are
are
coming
you
to your
from
country
the
to
outside
administer it.
trying to come and help us? Help
But
your
we are
people first, and then
just
come and help
saying
South
it.
Africans.
You see what he's
That's
doing
common
now?
sense.
You see how you see
You
what
can't
he's
try
doing?
you can't try to correct somebody else's houses, but
You
why your
just
own house
you
is
don't
not
let people
corrected?
talk. It's like somebody wants to highlight something wrong, and you just say, "Shut up! Don't highlight it. Keep quiet. Don't say anything about that." Because I feel
That
hurt when you
doesn't
say that.
concern you, though. Doesn't concern you. You're not South
Because
Africans.
we are on the
Let
continent.
South Africans address their own issues.
So you
That's
are
my
free to talk about
concern.
American
You
issue.
have a lot to worry about in your
Forget
own
it.
country.
When you were
You have
fighting,
a
when
lot
you
to
were
worry
fighting,
about in your own country. Why worry
you see, he
wasting
won't let
your
anybody
energy
talk. Go ahead.
on
Talk.
someone else's
Well,
country?
we do have a guest, you guys. We got a guest.
So,
You won't let
Dynas,
me talk.
you mentioned, why when, the independence of the Republic of South Africa was created and Nelson Mandela signed, the Constitution, and there was the political shift of surrendering whatever power they surrendered to the U.S. At the time,
Like that part, I just
right,
go
but that
ahead.
was the 90s, and at the time, America was a superpower, and there were powers in force that were making it so that if you didn't surrender to America, like there was going to be problems and repercussions.
North Korea is doing fine. North Korea, well, I mean, they're not doing
they are,
fine, but I mean,
they're in isolation. But so since then, South Africa has entered into an economic alliance, right, called Brics, which is Brazil, India, China, and Russia, which going into this 22nd century is looking like a pretty strong powerhouse. So everything that happens isn't always understood at the time that it happens. And that's why I say when we talk about disadvantages, it's a very dynamic history that South Africa has. And they've had to trade a lot to get to where they are, but they are progressing over time. And I think, the world is dependent upon the success of Africa moving forward. And the world is dependent upon the success of Africa as a continent. And the two powerhouses on this continent, South Africa and Nigeria, we got to figure it out. Both very patriotic. Y'all love yourselves some y'all. But at the end of the day, for Black people around the world, if we are ever going to see a level of legacy and respect that we want, and we're going to stop talking about what's wrong and what's not going right for Black people as a whole, we have to invest and build on the continent and figure out these problems and figure out a way to resolve them, because these conflicts are only benefiting the people and the Europeans that want this to happen. As long as we're back and forth and telling each other to figure out like your own problems. And yeah, I mean, it makes sense, Rue. Like there are a lot of challenges and conflicts in other countries in Africa. And I think there is this admiration for South Africa in some ways, because they have been able to advance in other ways that other countries haven't. But there has to be also like this level of humility around the board. And I don't know what the solution looks like or what that is. But I think as we're having more of these conversations and we're joining in, like African Americans are coming in and providing our perspective and supporting the Africans on the ground, like, we'll get there.
Okay, see, can I just say something, please? I think, you see, I just said that we want them to do better so that they don't they don't fall for this in false sense of security, because there is a reason why Dynas asked that question. When this technology was taken away from the country, because they understand what the importance of strategic defense technology. That's why it was taken. They took it so that they will lure you to a false sense of security by giving you economics. The BRIC, this thing, organization, is an economic organization. It's not NATO. It's not going to save you when they come back again. Our people, our forefathers, it took 400 years for them to take Africa. They didn't do it overnight. They will lure you to a false sense of security, then they will come back for more. They will lure you to a false sense of security, they will come back for more. When they get stronger, they will always come back for more. Look at what Russia is doing right now. Russia took its time, and they are doing what they need to do to defend themselves.
You
Everything
are
we do,
confusing
Hey,
two
hold on, but we'll have a quick question. So
Yeah.
why didn't tonight? Real quick, I'm sorry. So Ru, why didn't the U.S. demand that South Africa get rid of its nuclear program during apartheid rule?
exactly.
Because of the
I think that was an
White,
agreement
obvious.
for apartheid. In
See,
order
our
for
people are making
apartheid to
excuses
end,
for them.
I think that was
Seriously.
that was a deal, and I think Mandela found it will be best to give up for that, to give up the nuclear deal and make the people free and be economically and have the control of the country. So I don't because my thing is, why would it profit you to have a nuclear weapon and your country be isolated, having your people country suffer like they're doing in North Korea?
Here we go.
What's the point of that?
I'll give you some other countries that
Korea
are
is not
nuclear
suffering
that
as
aren't
much.
isolated. I want to say India's nuclear. I know Pakistan is for sure. India
Yeah.
might be nuclear. I mean, China
India is
is
nuclear.
not. India's nuclear. I mean, you have
Yeah.
all these
But you
countries that are
can't.
nuclear.
But you can't compare those people, those countries with South Africa.
Oh
The
my God.
population is not
What is
equal
wrong with our
first,
people?
and the military strength
Have
or
they
might
got four
cannot be
heads? Have all
equal.
those people got 4 heads? What is
This
wrong
is-
with our men?
this
We
is the
feel
point.
so powerless.
Powerless. Man, worry about
You
Nigeria.
wonder why
Look,
women are running the show this in the
to
US right
Niger,
now.
to Niger. Have you guys resolved the Boko Haram issues?
See, why am I
Kidnapping
make
little
me the
girls
president
in
of Nigeria?
schools
Make me the
and
president of
raping
Nigeria
little
and you see what
girls.
happens.
Have you guys resolved that
Ah.
issue? The terrorist issue. Have you guys resolved that issue?
See, if I was the president of Nigeria, then you can ask me that.
Well,
Okay.
if the South African people were the president, you can ask them what
But
what
we were
what
not.
the government
Nobody's
is
even
doing.
insulting South
Let
Africa. I don't even
Okay,
get
my
it.
issue
hold on,
How
guys.
can
We
this guy
got
not understand it?
let the South
hold
South
on, Ru,
African people
hold on, Ru.
handle their
We
own
got to guess.
issues.
We got to guess. Ashley, go ahead, Ashley. I'm sorry.
Well,
I
what we
have very
don't, I
good
think,
questions to ask even, and he won't let me ask the questions.
Tonight, hold on, tonight.
if we
We'll do a
stay,
separate show. Go ahead.
yeah, if we stay, listen, we all know the past, right? We could spend a lot of time there. The only thing that matters is the present and where we are today, right? Because if we talk about continue to relish on the past, we'll stay there. If we're looking at what has happened now, the future of war looks very different than it did 100 years ago, 50 years ago.
Mhm.
Nuclear, I'm not saying
Exactly.
nuclear, obviously nuclear is nuclear, right? But if we're looking at a country that's suffering right now in this pandemic experience, the deaths and sicknesses that have occurred in the US completely outweigh those that have occurred in South Africa, in Nigeria, on the continent.
Exactly.
So, you know, advancements are being made in different spaces and in different opportunities. Everybody is figuring it out. Okay, trying to spend hours arguing back and forth about what country on the continent is doing better, not doing better. They're realistic questions and realistic conversations, but ultimately, is this going to push us forward as a powerhouse that we are meant to be, that we will be?
Yeah.
Right. Like at one time, America was this superpower. People were scared of America and the alliances and allegiances that it had. This is changing. And we see this happening. We're living in this, like, one of the most incredible times in history to actually see it. So let's not be so hard on each other to try to figure out what's happened in the past and why that is the problem we need to stay focused on. No, we need to recognize that we are the future of, you know, of what is to come and what will be, you know, the powerful regime over the world. And like, let's go there. And let's figure out what's been done well in South Africa, what hasn't been done well, and how that can apply itself to Nigeria, and what's been done well in Nigeria, what hasn't, how that can apply itself to Kenya and Tanzania and so forth and so on, as all of these countries are developing and growing in great ways. Nothing is going to be perfect. None of it will happen overnight. But we just can't, we're not going to get anywhere by addressing issues of the past.
To be fair, the past informs the present.
Absolutely,
if somebody has
it informs. But if it informs it, there's also a lot of trauma associated with it, right? But you can't stay there, because if you stay there, you can't move forward.
I don't have trauma. I have purpose. I think we have to be purposeful in what we are doing. Like, one of the questions I had for you was about, what you are doing in South Africa now. I have to give you credit for that, because not a lot of people are actually coming down here to the continent and actually putting their body where their mouth is, or something. I don't know how they put that one. Okay. So the point I wanted to make was that, or the question I wanted to ask was that, because you said something about 6-figure, 7-figure entrepreneurs coming to the continent. Are you doing anything particularly to encourage them to get into industrialization, this in areas? Because I know in the US they have a lot of rich people, African Americans, even billionaires, but you never see them on the continent carrying out big projects. There are a lot of massive projects on the continent right now that they are not doing.
Yeah.
So is there anything you are doing to channel that to the continent? Because I think there's a lot of money to be made on the continent because of the Continental Free Trade Agreement, and there are big projects that are going on. If they were on the ground, they will create a lot of wealth that they can take back to the US and reinforce their power there too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Black Americans need to see it happen to believe it. And so, building, if you build it, we come. That tends to be how it works. So currently, what I'm doing is exactly that, is like is actually doing it. It takes time to build a business anywhere. And, thinking and assuming like, oh, I'm going to get the level of buy-in that I thought I was going to get in just from my family, and like having to learn that and go through that process of recognizing like everybody is not going to see your vision. Your vision isn't for everybody. You just have to continue to move forward. That's still a process for me that I'm working through. But at the same time, we're just a people that have to see things to believe it. And my goal is to put in the work, continue to do the work, stay connected with like-minded people on the continent, and support the content to be able to share it with the right people to come, because everybody isn't meant to come to the continent and build. Everybody won't have the right intentions to create impacts. And that's the right set of people that we need, not just billionaires, not just millionaires, but people that recognize that there is a life outside of America. We can be treated better outside of America, and we can create impact outside of America and on a continent where, quite frankly, is the future, is the promise of everybody. So yeah.
Okay, got that. They need to see it to believe it. So when we start seeing success stories, then they might be attracted to come down to the continent. Okay, so then the next one was about the social dynamics in the US. The women, between the men and the women in the US, and some people see it as a negative thing. Like the women are controlling stuff. I actually feel like, from my point of view anyway, that they are doing what is necessary to keep the roof up. Sooner or later, the men have to take over from there to actually build, because there are always times that show up and the opportunities arise to build, and I believe these are one of those times. And I get tired when you go online and you see men complaining about the women, and when they should be actually focusing on trying to do better for themselves. Because I'm one of those men that, I might come across as being arrogant, but I'm also very ashamed of myself, or as a Black man myself, that some of the things we are supposed to have done, we have not done it. You can call our communities macho or feminine, or it doesn't even matter, because in the end, I believe the men set the tone. Because if you look at the world, in the Arab world, the men say wear burqa, the women wear burqa. So all this is on the men. And I think it's time that we as men, and I hope that the women call us out on it too. Say, okay, you need to do your job. You don't have that much of an excuse. You're a strong man. You have all it takes. Because what that rule was saying here just now, it tells you some of the things, the mentality our men need to shed. All those people that are doing those things around the world, they don't have 5 heads. We are almost 1 billion strong. We can do things too if we put our heart to it. We have to be purposeful. We can't just be saying, oh, let's just enjoy, let's just make money and enjoy all the basic things when they are running circles around us. That is why they took that nuclear weapons away from this Mandela. They make sure, look at in America now, can you say the African American community control any strategic sector in that country? No. They'll give you music, give you sports, all the stuff that lures you to a false sense of security that can be reversed very quickly. History has taught me that that kind of thinking is not safe. I can outsource the survival of my children to that kind of thinking at all. I'm not going to stand for that. Hence why when you said the last time, the last meeting that when you came here the last time about it was 80%, the Europeans were controlling 80% of the economy, and then it's 70%. There's nowhere in the world where an elite gives up power. They never give up power. They will always hold on to it. In England, they are doing the same thing. In the US, they do the same thing. That stuff will not shift until a catalytic event makes it shift. So don't expect the strategic industry to be handed over to this in Black South Africans without any serious event occurring. This is the basics of life. And I just feel like our people need to be paying more attention to that and be more purposeful. It's not always about, let's just go and enjoy ourselves. Let's just go and live our life and all the rest, because the other people are not doing that.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Tunaja. You said a lot. You're right.
And then actually, after you respond, we'll go ahead and start closing out.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So yeah, you said a whole lot. I agree with much of what you said about, just paying attention to history and being bolder in our actions and not necessarily heeding to what we're told or what feels like we should be doing. What I've learned is that there are several ways to solve a problem. And so the good news is that we don't all have to see and recognize this one solution to be correct. If we're all thinking about solutions, we'll get there. I think that's what excites me and what really calls me to build and to sing the praises of Africa, because I feel like that is the place where it's happening versus, America is just a place where we just want to complain. We want to talk about the past and what we did 400 years ago and what we've been through. And that's just not getting us anywhere, but emotionally drained and spiritually, just spiritually oppressed. And, you're right. I think a lot of what Black women have fallen into has been a survival tactic, because our men have subscribed to, this definition of success that is really for a white man. It is not for a Black man. And so that conflict is what has created just this internal conflict in the Black family, because we're going after something that is not for us. And we're doing that in industries like entertainment, where we are actually put on pedestals, but it is only damaging and destroying us even further, and our Black men and our Black children and our Black women. So yeah, yes, you can. We're doing what we have to do. The goal is that I'll put it on. The goal is that we figure it out. Okay. We figure it out. And, our Black men recognize it and don't fight us, and lead us. None of us want to do this alone. We need each other. I recognize that we need each other. Like, we're meant to be together in this purpose. And so, if we have to take the lead here, we'll do that. But ain't no white South Africans for me. That's not what I'm doing. It's about self-preservation, the Black family, the Black child, and that's what we're on. And so that's what I see possible in Africa.
Thanks for for answering my questions. And I know that I'm a little bit of I talk a lot, but I appreciate the work that you are doing, and I'm glad you are in South Africa. All these South Africans that keep thinking I'm hating, I am not. Stop it.
Oh man, don't come on. We gotta close out. We do a separate show. You and Rue will come and we can discuss Nigerian and South African relations.
Just want to say something in closing.
That is going to be messy.
Okay, all right. So go ahead, Rue. Go ahead and say.
Just want to say something. No, I just want to say thank you for letting me in. I know we were a bit too long and out of the subject, but I want to thank Miss Ashley for doing what she's doing. I know that Africa is not for everyone, but I'm glad that she has taken this step to actually move over and try to help the continent in the little that she can. I know that she can't change much, but the little contribution that she will do will be great, and hopefully that will encourage more people to move back to Africa and try to help our people move on forward. So I can't wait to see what you're going to do in the future. I'm already subscribed to your channel, so best of luck. And yeah, and I think all these divisions needs to stop. I think it's just that I just had to defend my South African brothers. They get a lot of criticism on all this stuff. So thank you for the time.
Okay.
Yeah, me, I'm your brother too. You could, I'm on the continent. I'm doing work on the continent too. You didn't even say come on. See, I hope we don't get to be arguing, because from the bottom of my heart, when I'm talking about South Africa, I don't have any envy for them or any kind of bad malice. Even the xenophobic stuff that people talk about, I don't buy that. I actually blame the government for it, because they are supposed to cater to their people so that their people don't get so desperate that they have to attack people on the street. So I'm not in any business of trying to make South Africa look bad. I see some Europeans go online and they say some terrible, and they are South Africans actually, they leave South Africa and go and say terrible things about South Africa. So I'm not buying that. I know they do these things, and the Africans too are also, rubbed the wrong way when they see this in these xenophobic attacks, but because they don't see behind the lines. And I'm surprised I am the one that is being criticized.
Tonight, brother. We got to close out, man.
I'm getting tired of them.
Tonight we can do a separate show. Tonight, listen, you just tell me when. Here we go. Monday.
Yeah.
You come on Monday. Just send me an email. We can do a whole separate South Africa.
Okay. All right.
So we got to go. Me and Ashley. We are mommy and daddy duty.
All right.
Let me make sure kids asleep. Cause Matt's supposed to be in bed. I think Matt is running around doing something. So I got to go back on daddy duty. Okay.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Yeah. Much respect.
Okay. Ashley, how can people reach you and contact you and your YouTube and all that good stuff?
Yes. Thanks again, Dinus, for having me. This was enjoyable. I love having the conversation and bridging those gaps. So you can follow my YouTube channel, subscribe, please. I'm trying to get to 6,000 subscribers. Mm-hmm. It's Ashley in Africa here on YouTube. You can also say hello on Instagram. Same, Ashley in Africa, and all my email contact information is there.
All right. Hey, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. Peace.